Market survey. Market survey is the survey research and analysis of the market for a particular product, service, which includes the investigation into customer inclinations. It is a study of various customer capabilities such as investment attributes and buying potential. Market surveys are tools to directly collect feedback from the target audience to understand their characteristics, expectations, and requirements. Marketers develop new and exciting strategies for upcoming products, services, but there can be no assurance about the success of these strategies. For these to be successful, marketers should determine the category and features of products, services that the target audiences will readily accept. By doing so, the success of new avenue can be assured. Most marketing managers depend on market surveys to collect information that would catalyze the market research process. Also, the feedback received from these surveys can be contributory in product marketing and feature enhancement. Importance of market survey. There are 5 factors that depict the importance of a market survey. Let us learn about them in detail. 1. Understanding the demand and supply chain of the target market. A product is most likely to be successful if it is developed by keeping in mind the demand and supply of the target market. This way, marketers can obtain insights about market capabilities to absorb new products and concepts to develop customer-centric products and features. The demand estimation has to be done by the entrepreneur, which includes not only of the present demand but also of the future demand. For this, various types of demand forecasting techniques are used by the entrepreneur, which are both quantitative and qualitative by nature. To name few techniques, their Delphi technique, composite of sales force opinion, consumer survey of the current demand as to how much quantity they would like to buy at what price, extrapolation of the past trend, method of least square, exponential smoothing, etc. In supply chain, it requires to be found out that what the degree of competition is. This is important for entrepreneur to do the competitive analysis in order to find out what are they offering at what price, how are they promoting, and the strategy of distribution. This supply side information will help the entrepreneur to reorient their strategies to combat the moves of the competitors. 2. Developing well-thought marketing plans. The world is a target market for an organization, and therefore getting data from the target market through well-planned market research is the need of the hour. Using market surveys and segmentation can be a source of creating concrete and long-term marketing plans. Preparation of adequate marketing plan may facilitate the operations of the business. 3. Figure out customer expectations and needs. All marketing activities revolve around customer acquisition. All small and large organizations require market surveys to gather feedback from their target audience regularly. This is done by the application of customer satisfaction tools, such as Net Promoter Score, Customer Effort Score, and Customer Satisfaction Score, CSAT, etc. Organizations can analyze customer feedback to measure customer experience, satisfaction, and expectations, etc., to keep on being updated about the changing customer demands over a period of time. If the customer expectations are known by the entrepreneur, then accordingly, they can design their products and services to deliver results which can meet and exceed these expectations. If results are greater than the customer expectations, it will always add to their delight. 4. Accurate launching of new products. Market surveys are influential in understanding where to test new products or services. Market surveys provide marketers a platform to analyze the scope of success of upcoming products and make changes in strategizing the product according to the feedback they receive. The accurate and precise information may facilitate launching of new products. 5. Obtain information about customer demographics. Customer demographics form the core of any business, and market surveys can be used to obtain intricate and sensitive details about customer demographics such as race, ethnicity, or family income. Such demographic information obtained through market survey will always help the entrepreneurs to segment their markets carefully to ensure the success of their venture. Moreover, the precise demographic information may help the entrepreneurs to offer the products in such a way that may satisfy the customers. Market research. Market research involves the process of gathering, analyzing and interpreting information about a market, about a product or service to be offered for sale in that market. It includes the past, present and potential future customers for the product or service, research into the characteristics, spending habits, location and needs of your business's target market, the industry as a whole, and the particular competitors you face. Market research involves the gathering of data to determine such information as who will buy the product or service, what is the size of potential market, what price should be charged, what is the most appropriate distribution channel, and what is the most appropriate promotion strategy to inform and reach potential customers. Market research may be conducted internally by following a process which begins with defining the objectives or purpose of the research. Market research allows a company to discover the target market and get opinions and other feedback from consumers about their interest in the product or service. There are a lot of various research firms in India which can be hired by entrepreneurs for this job. To name few, these are Operation Research Group, ORG, Indian Market Research Bureau, RNB Research, TNS India Private Limited, IDC India, the Nielsen Company, etc. Process of market research. Now, let us try to understand the process of market research. The market research process is a systematic methodology for arriving at various types of business decisions. Marketing research involves gathering information about a particular market and analyzing that information for use. It consists of various steps because it is a systematic investigation of facts and figures as follows. Define the research purpose and objectives. The first stage in a marketing research process is to define the research problem. The research problem will direct the entrepreneur to collect the information. The entrepreneur should first focus and prepare a list of all the information that will be needed to prepare further plans. Defining the problem, the entrepreneur needs to decide what information is needed and how that information can be gathered. It involves preparing questions that will define the research objectives. For example, the entrepreneur should aim to answer questions like, who will buy the product or service? What is the size of potential market? What prices will the target customers willing to pay? What is the most appropriate distribution channel? What is the most appropriate promotion strategy to inform and reach potential customers? How does the business differentiate its products, services with that of its competitors? 2. Gather secondary data. Secondary data refers to the information already collected by some other researcher, the information that already exists and compiled. Gathering secondary data is helpful to the entrepreneur in many ways as it is considered to be the less expensive source of collecting information and are already tested for its reliability by the researcher. There are many secondary research sources like business magazines, peer-reviewed journals, published articles, libraries, government agencies, and most important being internet and social media sites. All these sources are helpful in providing information about the market and its competitors. However, these may not be always suitable as these are collected by the researchers for some other purpose which may not suit the current purpose. The secondary information can be outdated, therefore, less useful. Some sources of secondary data may not be authentic. Therefore, secondary data should be used while evaluating various business opportunities to make more informed decision of selection of the business idea. However, this data should be used with caution. 3. Gathering information from primary sources. If the secondary sources are not sufficient, the entrepreneur may generate new information, known as primary data, which is collected by the entrepreneur or the agent recruited by him, her for the purpose of market research. Primary research is the original research whose purpose is to collect the data specifically for the current objective. Surveys and experimentation by mailing, telephonic and personal interviews, observation, etc. are some of the sources of collecting primary data. The advantage of using primary information is that it is specifically collected for the required purpose and is fresh and latest. However, primary data collection is considered to be a costly and time-consuming process. Sometimes, the respondents do not give consent for personal interviews and may feel intruded if observed by the researcher. To gather information from primary sources, we need to develop an information gathering instrument. The questionnaire is the basic instrument that can be used to gather information from the market through a survey. The questionnaire needs to be carefully developed, and it should contain questions that bring out the required information from the respondent. However, it should not contain personal questions that the respondents hesitate to answer, and respondents may choose to respond as an anonymous. Also, concise directions are required to be given to the respondents in the questionnaire, and use of technical words should be avoided. Instrument designing is an art and comes through experience, therefore the entrepreneur can take the help of outside agencies or some experts at the time of finalizing the instrument used for information gathering. 4. Analysis of data. Now that all the information needed is collected, it is the time for analyzing the data. The data collected is raw data and needs to be organized for its effective utilization. Large quantities of data are merely facts. To be useful, they should be molded and organized into meaningful information. The data collected by observing the units in the sample has to be compiled and coded. Then analysis of the data should be done based on appropriate statistical methods. Some of the widely used statistical tools are regression analysis, correlation analysis, and statistical testing for independence between attributes. 5. Interpreting and reporting information. The results of marketing. Research must be effectively communicated to the management. Presenting the results of a marketing research study to the management generally should be done as a formal written report as well as an oral presentation. Preparing a research report has 3 steps: understanding, organizing, and writing. The summary of findings is the most important component of the written report, and many of management team who are to receive a copy of the report will only read this section. Easy to understand tables, charts, and graphics will enhance the readability of the written research report. 6. Put research into action. Once the research is complete, it is time to present the findings and take action. It is time to start developing marketing strategies and campaigns and putting the findings to the test. The biggest takeaway here is that, although this round of research is complete, it is not over. The problems, business environment, and trends are constantly changing, which means that the research is never over. The trends discovered today through research are evolving. One should be analyzing the data on a regular basis to see where one can improve. The more an entrepreneur knows about his/her buyer personas, industry, and company, the more successful his/her marketing efforts and company will be. The marketing mix. An understanding of the concept of marketing mix is required to make the marketing plan. Therefore, let us quickly and briefly get an idea about the concept of marketing mix. The marketing mix refers to the set of actions, or strategies, that a company uses to promote its brand or product in the market. Marketing mix is the concept given by McCarthy's, which is the concept of taking into consideration all the relevant and essential factors that are required to contribute towards the success of an entrepreneur's marketing endeavors. A marketing mix is described as a suitable amalgamation of 4 petaseconds of marketing, which are product, price, promotion, and place. Let us learn them. 1. Product. Product refers to the item actually being sold. The product must deliver a minimum level of performance, otherwise even the best work on the other elements of the marketing mix would not do any good. Some critical decisions which are required to be taken are quality of components of materials, style, features, options, brand name, packaging, sizes, service availability, and warranties. In a way, it is also called as product mix. The analysis of each component of product mix and manufacture of suitable products enhance the acceptability of the product. 2. Price. Price refers to the value that is put for a product. It depends on costs of production, segment targeted, ability of the market to pay, supply, demand, and a host of other direct and indirect factors. There can be several types of pricing strategies, each tied in with an overall business plan. This involves decision with regard to quality image, list price, quantity, discounts, allowances for quick payment, credit terms, and payment period. This is also called as price mix when all these elements are taken into consideration. The determination of right price mix may help in increasing the sale of the product. Promotion, product, marketing mix, price, place. Figure 6.14 petaseconds of marketing mix. 3. Promotion. This refers to all the activities undertaken to make the product or service known to the user and trade. This can include advertising, word of mouth, press reports, incentives, commissions and awards to the trade. It can also include consumer schemes, direct marketing, contests and prizes. This involves critical decisions regarding media alternatives, message, media budget, role of personal selling, sales promotion, displays, coupons, etc., use of social networking, website design, and media interest in publicity. The entrepreneur has to design its IMC, which means integrated marketing communications, where all the elements of promotion are given weightage in terms of percentage of the promotion budget to be spent. This way the entrepreneur synergizes its promotion effort where sum total of whole elements is greater than the sum of the individual elements of promotion. The promotion strategy may be helpful in making the customers aware about the products and their features. The awareness may facilitate in the buying decision of the customers. 4. Place. Place refers to the point of sale. In every industry, catching the eye of the consumer and making it easy for her to buy it is the main aim of a good distribution or place strategy. Retailers pay a premium for the right location. In fact, the mantra of a successful retail business is location. The critical decision regarding media alternatives, message, media budget, role of personal selling, sales promotion, displays, coupons, etc., use of social networking, website design, and media interest in publicity may be taken. This calls for making the distribution strategy by the entrepreneur on the basis of the feedback of the consumers. One thing should be ensured that promotion should be followed with distribution. In other words, if distribution channels are not available at any place in the market, then in that area the promotion should also not be done. All the elements of the marketing mix influence each other. They make up the business plan for a firm, and handled right, can give it great success. The wrong decision may be very harmful and business could take years to recover. The marketing mix needs a lot of understanding, market research and consultation with several people, from users to trade to manufacturing and several others. A detailed discussion on the marketing mix is given in other course offered by IGNOU. If you are interested, you may study that course. Preparing the marketing plan. When in a business, the mind of the entrepreneur has to be focused on what is to be achieved and how are we going to do the achievement. Marketing planning is used to assess how well the organization is doing in its markets, identify current strengths and weaknesses in these markets, establish marketing objectives to be achieved in these markets, establish a marketing mix for each market designed to achieve organizational objectives. Steps in preparing the marketing plan. There are various stages involved in preparing the marketing plan. Each of these stages, when completed, will provide the necessary information to formally prepare the marketing plan. Figure 6.2. An effective marketing plan will give a business owner a clear idea of the opportunities available in their market, as well as a deep understanding of target audiences and competitors. Using that information, businesses can craft a detailed strategy to guide their marketing efforts towards success and growth. Following are the essential steps in preparing marketing plan. 1. Defining the business situation. The situation analysis is a review where the company considers many of the environmental factors and industry analysis. The entrepreneur should simply review some of the key elements of this section to provide a context for the marketing segmentation and actions that will be stated in this section of the business plan. Industry analysis should include information on market size, growth rate, suppliers, new entries, and economic conditions. Defining business situation involves description of the company, the marketing plans in place and goals for the future. It also states the company's mission statement. The current business situation is one section in the plan describing the company's current state of market. 2. Defining the target market. Opportunities and threats. A target market is the specific group of people you want to reach with your marketing message. They are the people who are most likely to buy your products or services, and they're united by some common characteristics, like demographics and behaviors. Knowledge of the target market provides a basis for determining the appropriate marketing action strategy that will effectively meet its needs. The defined target market will usually represent one or more segments of the entire market. Thus, it is important even before beginning the research to understand what market segmentation is before determining the appropriate target market. Market segmentation means dividing the whole population into small homogeneous groups so that the entrepreneur responds more effectively to the needs of more homogeneous consumers. The process of segmenting and targeting customers by the entrepreneur should proceed as follows. Decide what general market or industry you wish to pursue. Divide the market into smaller groups based on characteristics of the customer or buying situations. The characteristics of the customer or buying situations may be as follow. A. Characteristics of the customer. I. Geographic, e.g., state, country, city, region. E. Demographic, e.g., age, sex, occupation, education, income, and race. E. Psychographic, e.g., personality and lifestyle. B. Buying situation. I. Desired benefits, e.g., product features. E. Usage, e.g., rate of use. E. Buying conditions, e.g., time available and product purpose. IV. Awareness of buying intention, e.g., familiarity of product and willingness to buy. Select segment or segments to target. Develop a marketing plan integrating product, price, distribution, and promotion. 3. Considering strengths and weaknesses. It is important for the entrepreneur to consider strengths and weaknesses in the target market. It is most appropriate in the early stages of marketing planning. The analysis takes internal resources and capabilities, such as strengths and weaknesses, and external factors, such as opportunities and threats, into account. 4. Establishing goals and objectives. A sound marketing strategy aligned with your highest level business goals and objectives helps you to create awareness for your company and its products and services. It is important to decide, where do we want to go? And should specify things such as market share, profits, sales, by territory and region, market penetration, number of distributors, awareness level, new product launching, pricing policy, sales promotion, and advertising support. All the preceding goals and objectives are quantifiable and can be measured for control purposes. However, not all goals and objectives must be quantified. It is possible for a firm to establish such goals or objectives as customer attitudes toward a product, set up a sales training program, improve packaging, change name of product, or find new distributor. It is a good idea to limit the number of goals or objectives to between 6 and 8. Too many goals make control and monitoring difficult. Obviously, these goals should represent key areas to ensure marketing success. 5. Defining marketing strategy and action programs. Once the marketing goals and objectives have been established, the entrepreneur can begin to develop the marketing strategy and action plan to achieve them. These strategy and action decisions respond to the question, how do we get there? In this step, it involves decisions regarding marketing mix of the company discussed earlier in section 6.4 of this chapter. 6. Marketing strategy. Consumer versus business-to-business markets. The decisions regarding marketing to consumers are very much different from that of business-to-business marketing. In business-to-business markets, the entrepreneur sells the product or service to another business that uses the product or service as part of its operations. Dell Computer markets its products to both consumers and businesses. In marketing to consumers, the company uses direct mail and the internet, and to businesses it uses its own sales force. The consumer marketing effort, however, does support the business marketing effort since the advertising and promotions will be seen or read by both markets. Consumer markets involve sales to households for personal consumption, food, beverages, household products, furniture, and computers would be a few examples. Usually business-to-business marketing strategy involves a more direct channel of distribution because of the volume of each transaction and the need to relate product knowledge to the business buyers. Advertising and promotion for the business-to-business market involve more trade magazine advertising, direct sales, and trade shows. 7. Budgeting the marketing strategy. Effective planning decisions should also consider evaluating the cost of implementing those decisions. The cost for achieving the desired goals and objectives should be reasonably clear and budgets should be prepared well in advance. It should be clearly stated so that anyone else who reviews the written marketing plan understands all the implications. The costs and budgets framed in this also help in preparation of financial plan. Step 1. Defining the business situation. Step 2. Defining the target market, opportunities and threats. Step 3. Considering strengths and weaknesses. Step 4. Establishing goals and objectives. Step 5. Defining marketing strategy and action programs. Step 6. Marketing strategy. Consumer versus business-to-business markets. Step 7. Budgeting the marketing strategy. Step 8. Implementation of the market plan. Step 9. Evaluation of marketing plan. Figure 6.2 Steps in preparing marketing plan. 8. Implementation of the market plan. Once all the above-mentioned steps are clearly framed and stated, the time comes for its implementation. Marketing plan is not a formality for proposing to outside financial supporter but a formal plan that should be implemented with careful research and planning. Someone in the venture should be assigned the responsibility of coordinating and implementing the plan. 9. Evaluation of marketing plan. This is the final critical step in preparation of marketing plan. A number of variables can affect the outcomes of marketing plan and thus it is necessary to evaluate the performance of marketing plan and make necessary changes if required. Sales volume data by product, territory, sales rep, and outlet are a few of the specific results that should be monitored. In addition to monitoring the progress of the existing plan, the entrepreneur should also be prepared for contingencies. If the entrepreneur is constantly faced with significant changes in the marketing strategy, then it is likely that the plan was not prepared properly and the entrepreneur should focus on it again or follow the contingency plan. Proposed business plan for a sports retail store. Business name and address. Sport retail. Sector 11, Rohini, Delhi. Proprietor's name and address. Ramesh Sharma. Sector 11, Rohini, Delhi. Business form. Sole trader, proprietorship. Business activity. The above shop will sell general sportswear, clothing, footwear and sports accessories from a good secondary retail location close to the main shopping area of Rohini. Sports covered will include football, cricket, golf, tennis, archery, skiing and other sports, as appropriate to the reason. In addition, the shop will sell general sports clothing and footwear such as track suits, trainers and so on. Suppliers will include major names such as Adidas, Nike, and so on. Aim. The aim of the business is to provide an adequate income for myself and my wife. We shall be living above the shop. Objectives. 1. Sales of 250,000 rupees in the first year. 2. Gross profit margin of 40%. 3. Net profit margin of 16%. 4. Drawings at least 25,000 rupees. Market size and growth. The last decade has seen a substantial increase in the popularity of sport and consequently the growth of the sportswear market. It is estimated that 2/3 of time spent on leisure pursuits is devoted to sport. The estimated size of the sport clothing and footwear market is about 1 billion rupees. The market for sport equipment is about the same size and the market for swimwear and beachwear is over 200,000 rupees. These estimates are very approximate because the demarcation between sportswear and fashion wear is becoming increasingly blurred. Competitors. Name. Olympus Sports, Silver Street, 400 yards away. 2 Seasons, Harper Street, Market Stall. Strengths, located in main shopping area. Very price competitive. National promotion. Shop layout appeal to young. Skiing and tennis. Equipment, good service. Well-known brands. Cheap. Weakness, lack of expert advice. Lack of personal service. Limited range. Lower end of market. Poor location. Cramped shop. Poor displays. No service. Only open market day. Poor quality. Low end of market. Your business. Strength. Personal. Expert service. Wide range of equipment. Quality equipment. Well-known brands. Weakness. Secondary location. Better than 2 Seasons. Limited merchandising opportunities. Cannot afford expensive promotions. Competitive advantages. PEOPLER. 1. Personal. Expert service. 2. Football links proprietor local football celebrity. 3. Links with local sports clubs, schools and so on will enable equipment and sportswear to be purchased to meet their specific requirements. 4. Wide range of quality merchandise. Proposed customers. General public. Typical market segments. School age, male and female. Teenage and 20s. Middle age, mainly male. Impulse shopper. Dedicated buyer. Sports clubs and schools. These are the groups we expect to attract. Advertising and promotions strategy. 1. Very limited advertising in local paper, shop opening and seasonal sales. It is proposed to get a well-known sportsman to launch the shop. 2. Extensive promotion to sports clubs and schools offering special equipment and sportswear and discounts. Displays may be mounted at clubs and so on, or special evenings could be arranged. 3. In-store seasonal promotions of particular sportswear or equipment. This could include special displays, promotional signs and, perhaps, a discounted loss leader to get customers into the shop. 4. Store displays would emphasize the professional football links. Pricing strategy. We cannot compete against Olympus on price and will not attempt to do so. We will offer good quality branded merchandise at recommended retail prices. We will attempt to stock alternative merchandise and brands to Olympus. We will offer good value for money but not lowest price. Premises. 1,000 square foot retail premises in community area, Rohini. This is a prime secondary site close to the main shopping area of Rohini. Rohini itself offers a good location and is the main shopping center for the north of the Delhi. The premises are leasehold with 10 years to run, let on a full repairing and insuring basis with rent reviews every 5 years. There is a 2-bedroom flat above the shop in which I intend to live with my wife. Equipment. Shop display equipment only. Key people and job functions. Mr. and Mrs. Sharma, proprietors. There may be other part-time counter staff, as required for Saturday work and so on. Background details of key peoples. Mr. Sharma, formerly professional footballer, joined from school. Retired 4 years ago. Worked as a salesman with rank Xerox selling photocopiers to large companies. Made redundant 6 months ago. Still maintains good links with local sports clubs and, in particular, Old Football Club. Mrs. Sharma, housewife. No work experience since marriage. Prior to marriage was employed as counter staff with Spencer. Currently parent governor of Bachpan School and on organizing committee for local youth club. Financial highlights. Initial 12 months. Turnover, Rs. 2. 50,000. Profit, 40,000 rupees before drawings. Break even, 60,000 rupees x 2. 50,000 over 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 equals Rs. 1. 50,000. Funding requirement. Lease purchase. Rs. 20,000. Redecoration. 5,000. Fixtures and fittings. 15,000. Total. 40,000 rupees. Plus overdraft facility as required. See cash flow. Source of funds. Own funds. Rs. 25,000. Bank loan. Rs. 15,000. We shall be seeking a 10-year fixed interest rate loan. Forecast profit and loss account. Business. Sports retail. Period. Year 2020. Sales. Rs. 2. 50,000. A. Less direct, variable, costs. Materials. Rs. 1. 50,000. Direct wages. Other. Total direct, variable, costs. Rs. 1. 50,000. Gross profit, contribution. Rs. 1. 00. 40%. B. The above business plan consists of all the requirements that an entrepreneur need to state in a business plan, which also incorporates marketing plan for the business. An entrepreneur should carefully analyze all the factors shown in the example before actually launching the business. Rural market research. Since we are talking of market research, rural markets provide umpteen opportunities to the budding entrepreneurs. This makes much more sense to understand about rural markets and gauge the business opportunity provided by these markets. However, rural market is a bit different than the markets that we have discussed so far, and so are the rural consumers or buyers. The rural buyer may be less awarded, price sensitive, more traditional, and is keen viewer of TV and video programs. Products for rural markets have to be simpler, easy to use, visually identifiable, affordable, communicated in an interesting style, and available at the customer's doorstep. The rural market in India brings in greater revenues in the country, as the rural regions comprise of the maximum consumers in this country. Indian rural market contributes almost more than half of the country's income. Indian rural marketing has always been difficult to predict and consist of special uniqueness. Today, as rural markets are considered as high potential markets, marketers are trying to take full advantage of the current boom, for which they need to know more about the markets they're entering. A large number of research organizations have begun to make their advent with newer tools and techniques into the rural markets. However, the critical point for the marketers will be the implementation techniques in the rural markets. They cannot use the same ways and means they have been using in the urban markets. For example, with regard to the tools and techniques to be adopted for rural research, a typical 5-point or 7-point scales used in the urban market are not effective in the rural context because they involve complex understanding on the part of the rural consumer. The rural consumer is not spatially well equipped. Pictorial scales may be used in their place. The rural market, though difficult to tap due to infrastructure problems and the unique behavior of the rural consumer, there exists widespread opportunities in rural market. The vastness of the rural market poses both a challenge and an opportunity to the entrepreneurs. Go Rural is the entrepreneur's new slogan. Indian marketers as well as multinationals, such as Colgate-Palmolive, Godrej and Hindustan Unilever, have focused on rural markets. Thus, looking at the opportunities which rural markets offer to the marketers, it can be said that the future is very promising for those who can understand the dynamics of rural markets and exploit them to their best advantage. One of the prominent marketing strategies adopted was Nokia's launch of affordable mobile phones, Nokia 1100, which has a bright torch and an alarm clock. This was done to facilitate the rural population residing in the areas where there is no electricity. What is important to understand is that rural markets are not as evolved as urban markets, and hence it might not be appropriate to use the tools and techniques used in the urban markets. Similarly, the segmentation variables used in rural markets are different as compared to the urban market, and therefore entrepreneur needs to be cautious at the time of using these segmentation variables. In order to get acquainted with the concept of rural market research, it is important to understand about rural market, its features, and the difference between urban and rural market research due to the peculiar characteristics of the rural markets. These have been discussed below. Features of rural market. 1. Low standard of living. The standard of living and purchasing power of rural customers may be comparatively lower as compared to the urban population. Rural population is employed in small-scale agricultural and related occupations. This unreliability factor in case of rural income makes the rural consumers extremely conscious in their purchase behavior, as they are not confident about their future earnings. Majority of the rural population lives below poverty line and have low literacy rate, low per capita income, social backwardness, etc. The village lifestyle is quite conservative and straightforward. People here spend more on necessities instead of luxury goods, making it very different from that of urban lifestyle. 2. Large, diverse and scattered market. Rural market in India is large and scattered into a number of regions. There are numerous villages located throughout the country, with a small group of people living in each of them. Covering such a large and widely scattered geographical market, characterized by less population per settlement, raises the inventory and transportation cost. The increased cost affects the viability of the route schedule operations of the distribution system in rural areas. 3. Major income comes from agriculture. Agriculture is a seasonal activity and the major income of the rural consumers come from agriculture itself, as majority of rural population are engaged in agricultural activities. Rural prosperity is tied with agriculture prosperity. In the event of crop failure, the income of rural masses is directly affected. However, with the launch of new government schemes for rural and entrepreneurship development, other sectors are also emerging in rural areas. This has been resulting into a very much required shift from agricultural sector, which suffers from disguised unemployment, to other sectors. 4. Infrastructure. The infrastructure facilities like road, warehouses, communication system and financial facilities are inadequate in rural areas. Promotion and physical distribution thus become very difficult in the rural areas because of inadequate infrastructural facilities. However, there is development of infrastructure facilities such as construction of roads and transportation, communication network, rural electrification and public service projects in rural India, which has increased the scope of rural marketing. 5. Diverse socio-economic background. The rural population is dispersed in vast geographical region and every small district is different from others in terms of religion, linguistics, culture and social groups, leading to a heterogeneous market. Socio-cultural background influence consumer willingness to accept innovations and new products in different areas. The variations in behavior due to consumer environment, geographical, occupation, demographical and behavioral, influences the lifestyle and create altogether different sets of needs in different areas. This creates the need to segment the rural market to cater it effectively. The village population tend to stick to their traditions and are resistant to change due to low literacy level. However, the rural youth is initiating development, though at a slower pace. 6. Literacy rate. The literacy rate of rural population is very low and the people in rural areas are very less educated, which leads to the problem of communication for promotion purposes. With low literacy rates, print medium become inefficient and to an extent irrelevant in rural areas. The reach of print medium is poor and therefore, the marketers use another medium such as radio, road shows and naked dramas for rural marketing. However, rural people have started going to urban areas for higher education. Government has introduced various schemes for rural education. Internet has increased the awareness and the farmers are well informed about the world around them. They are also educating themselves on the new technology around them and aspiring for a better lifestyle. 7. Market growth. Demand pattern of rural customer is fast changing due to increase in income and credit facilities offered by the banks like Kisan Credit Card. Consumerism is certainly on a rise and the spending on lifestyle products is emerging. The rural market is growing steadily over the years. Demand for traditional products, such as bicycles, agricultural inputs, FMCG products, etc., has also grown over the years. This was the result of new employment opportunities and new sources of income made available through rural development. This result into the increasing the potential of rural areas. Difference between urban and rural market research. Market research in rural markets is considerably different from the urban market research. Issues like literacy level, civic amenities and infrastructure support are some key factors that affect rural market research. Some broad differences in rural and urban market research are illustrated as follows. Table 6.1 Differences between urban and rural market research. Aspect. Urban market. Rural market. 1. Respondents. Literate. Brand aware. Individuals respond individually. Semi-literate or illiterate. Brand knowledge low. Difficultage individual responses. Generally group response. 2. Time. Willing to respond. Have time pressures. Spare little or virtually no time to field staff. Hesitant initially, but once opens up, devotes time. 3. Accessibility. Easy to access, though many suffer from research fatigue. Tough to access. Geographical distances and psychological apprehensions are barriers. Do not speak easily to outsiders. 4. Secondary data source. Internal data, syndicated research, published media. Many sources and large data. Very few sources and less data. 5. Primary data source. Less number of large number of all middlemen, experts, sales force, consumers and opinion leaders. Categories. 6. Sampling. Respondents form relatively homogeneous group. Income can be a criterion. Heterogeneous groups. Income and land holding to be carefully applied. 7. Data collection. Use of sophisticated instrument, style and administration. Respondents, comfortable with numbers, ratings and timelines. Requires simplified instruments. Respondents comfortable with colors, picture and stories. The marketing mix of rural market. The entrepreneur before entering rural market should formulate key marketing mix strategies in order to become successful in rural market. The features of rural market discussed above can provide gainful insights in formulating these strategies. Some of the strategies that can be used by the entrepreneurs are as follows. 1. Product decisions. The products demanded by rural population are different from those of urban population in many aspects. Product for the rural market must be built or modified to suit the lifestyle and needs of the rural customers and must be acceptable to rural consumers in all significant aspects. The product features like size, shape, color, weight, qualities, brand name, packaging, labeling, services, and other relevant aspect must be fit with needs, demands and capacity of rural buyers. The company should keep in mind that before developing the products for rural market, marketers must identify the typical rural specific needs. Urban products cannot be dumped into rural markets without modifications. Since the purchasing power of the rural population is comparatively low, packaging the products into small packets, sachets is recommended in rural areas. For example, Palji Biscuits have launched its 2 rupees packets for rural population. Various shampoo brands have launched 1 rupee packets for rural population. Coca-Cola launched 5 rupees bottles in rural areas. 2. Pricing decisions. Rural consumers are most price sensitive and price plays more decisive role in buying decisions. This does not mean that a rural consumer is a miser. He is not simply looking for the cheapest product, rather he understands and demands value for money in every purchase that he makes. Pricing offered to consumers should be for value offerings that are affordable. Pricing policies and its strategies must be formulated with care and caution. Price level, discounts and rebates, then credit and installment facilities are important considerations while setting prices for rural specific products. Marketers have to plan their activities in order to bring down the cost of production. They have to bring down the price in order to attract the customers, e.g. Nirma washing powder. 3. Promotion decisions. Promotion aspects always create a challenge in rural areas as they have a very thin population density but spread over the large remote area. Also, due to low literacy level, print media is not recommended for rural population. Television, radio, presentation, displays can be used to promote the marketing activities of the company. Programs like folk dances, rural fairs, Nortankis, local contests, generating word-of-mouth publicity through opinion leaders, colorful wall posters, wall paintings of houses in the villages etc. can be taken into consideration to promote the company's products. Personal selling can also play an important role in this respect. Brand. can be established through visible logos, etc. The rural promotion needs creativity and innovation. Nowadays, educated youth of rural area can also influence decision-making of the rural consumers. Rural consumers are also influenced by the Western lifestyle they watch on television and have influenced the buying behavior greatly. 4. Place decisions. Rural market faces critical issues of distribution. A marketer has to strengthen the distribution strategies. In rural India, the selection and use of distribution channels is not an easy task and possess great challenges. Both physical distribution and distribution channel should be decided carefully to ensure easy accessibility of products for rural consumers. Choosing the right mode of transportation, locating warehouses at strategic points, maintaining adequate inventory, sufficient number of retail outlets at different regions, and employing specially trained sales force are some of the critical decisions in rural distribution. Normally, indirect channels are more suitable to serve scattered rural customers. Usually, wholesalers are located at urban and semi-urban to serve rural retailers. Nowadays, online marketing is also making its place gradually in rural areas of the progressive states. Marketers must design and modify the distribution strategies time to time, taking into consideration the nature and characteristics prevailing in rural areas, which may be quite differently than that of urban markets.